What is up, everybody? It is another day of HHC. This is our Christmas episode. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. I'm Chris. I'm here with my three brothers, Jake, Juan, and Josh. How you guys doing today?
Good, good, good.
Good.
All
I'm
right,
doing
and we're
pretty good.
there. You go, there you go. And we're here to talk some Spurs basketball. Normally we go live every Sunday morning. This is a slightly different episode. We're just pre-recording it the night before, so we can take care of some family matters as it as we were talking before we went live or before we started recording. So, uh, super excited to be here to talk some Spurs ball though. As we got probably one of our top two, top three wins of the season just last night against Utah. So we'll be talking about that as well as the two games that preceded it, New Orleans and Charlotte. And then we'll look ahead for these next three games that we got on the road, all of them on the West Coast, all of them in California. And that'll be our show for the week, right? So we do go live every Sunday, or typically every Sunday. And if you're watching this video, it's coming out at the same time anyway, which is at 10 a.m. on Sundays. So check us out if you're ever into seeing some Spurs ball or talking some Spurs ball with us. We also have our Twitter account at Heroes Half Court, so follow us around. We love to talk ball. So matter of fact, let's just jump right in. We kind of started to talk a little bit before we started to record. And we can go start with Utah because it's the freshest one. Your thoughts on the New Orleans or Charlotte loss? I know I have some stuff on that I would like to kind of bring up a little bit. So we can kind of go wherever you want. Jake, I'll start with you. Where do you want to go first?
Honestly, I think we could pretty much just start talking about how good of a win that Utah one was. Because New Orleans was pretty straightforward. I would say Charlotte's pretty straightforward for me, but I'm sure my fellow brothers probably think a little bit differently. But this Utah game was very special to see just because of our comeback, just because
You thought Charlotte was just gonna whip her ass like that?
well, and I'm not saying that I thought it was gonna happen like that. I'm saying that when it started to happen, it just went that direction, and we just couldn't get a hold of the game. And that's why I'm not yeah, I'm surprised we lost to Charlotte, but in the actual game sense, the way that it happened was just well, they caught fire, right?
And we did talk about. I mean, we looked at their points per game, and they had a lot of people scoring, right? A lot of production, consistent. So
a lot of 3-point scoring, a lot of threes.
I mean, I will say though, and I mean, I was pretty frustrated just in the sense of they just looked bigger than us all night. You know what I mean? And we just didn't have any size all night long. And even though Oubre wasn't producing probably as I don't think he reached his average if I remember correctly. But it was just we just looked small, and I hated that game because it was why am I watching this? This is one of the few games that I didn't finish. I think I didn't watch the fourth quarter. I was out after three.
I think I tuned it off with 4 minutes to go in the fourth.
Yeah, because I was just tired of seeing we had no we didn't have the energy or the want. It didn't feel, but even just I don't know, we just felt outmatched at every position. I'm like, why are we so tiny, and why are we just not trying to be bigger at all? Or I don't know. I was just not happy with that aspect, and it kind of bled into Utah a little bit. I'll get there when we get there.
And even if they would have had LaMelo, they'd be that much bigger because he's a pretty big guy themselves.
Yeah,
so
that guy's huge.
Yeah, they got a decent sized team, and
Yeah.
it was very surprising. That game was kind of like the Indiana loss way back at the beginning of the season, where we let them get easy looks early.
Yeah, whatever they wanted.
Yeah, there was no. It's like what Pop says. We don't come out with that urgency to make the other team feel us, and it was very clear. It's kind of disheartening, as a fan. It's geez, these guys are just getting whatever they want whenever they want it. And
I would say I felt the same way with the Denver game, other than the stretch where our bench was killing their third string, fourth string guys out there. That Denver game that we lost this last week was another thing for me. It was just they came out and they got whatever they wanted. Jokic was doing whatever he wanted and letting role players hit wide open threes. Just getting to whatever Denver wanted to do, they did against us in that stretch until their very end of the unit, their very end of their rotations were coming out there against our second unit. And honestly,
so Miles Bridges,
He was a bully.
Gordon Hayward. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so Miles Bridges is in there. He's their power forward, right? He's not like the biggest guy, but he plays with a lot of good energy, right? And I was like, you have to get excited for a matchup like that versus Keldon Johnson, and it was like the complete opposite. I was like, are we like either Keldon wasn't even? I felt like at the beginning of the game that we were just like letting Bridges go on like whoever. Like DeJounte was guarding him so often, and I was like why are we doing this? Like, but I guess like I don't know. That's my biggest problem with just I feel like we switch everything and we can see things like
way too much.
Yeah, I hate watching it. Like it becomes more. I don't know. It's because like when you watch it happen like 6 times in a row, you just feel like you're in a disadvantage 6 times in a row. It's like I feel like I'm wearing myself out just watching them go through that kind of stuff.
So I don't know. I have to like check the tape, but when we talked about like the week looking forward last episode, I said something about I feel like we compete with like the top teams of like the West, like the Phoenix games and the Golden State games. So I wasn't too worried about like the Utah. I think I had mentioned that like the Charlotte game was what was kind of like worrying me because I don't feel like we do well against teams like Charlotte where they're just bigger, physical, and they're not afraid to take advantage of that. Like they go right at you. It's like just like other teams, like when like a JaVale McGee shows up or like somebody like clearly they're just bigger and stronger and they got like some type of like different like energy to them. I kind of describe it like they punk us, they throw us around, they take shots at us.
They big brother us.
Yeah, and like that's kind of what the whole Charlotte team felt like, and it was kind of like how you said, like Miles Bridges was like doing that just like from the very beginning, and it kind of just like affected the whole team, and then like all their guys start rolling, and they're just like Josh said, they big brother us.
Yeah. And so like. Obviously, when you get 21 points from like Cody Martin, that's something that you don't, that's something that you don't necessarily plan for. You're trying to stop Bridges, you're trying to stop Hayward, like those names first. But I mean, yeah, it was like I said, it was I think it was maybe the second game that I didn't finish like by choice. I just turned off.
If there's one thing that I can add that like I knew we were missing was Lonnie, like. Just over like the last couple games, I'll have to give him the shout out just because I'm probably the one that harps on him the most. But Lonnie has been pretty killer for us coming off the bench these last couple games. Pretty much scoring 20 points in the last 5 or 6 I think that he's played. And so I have to give him the credit where it's due because that's something that we missed, right? That's even if defensively he's not going to really help us not being able to like stop like the physicality of Charlotte. That extra 20-point spark that he's been giving us might have been able to turn some tables. Might have been able to add just a little bit more to our team as a whole. But who knows?
Maybe in certain pockets of the game, just keep us a little closer or something. Because I thought about that too. Like, well, we don't have Lonnie, but I was on the other side, which was like. But is having him in this exact moment right now going to change how we're defending and how we're? And I think the things that we're giving up, and at the time I was like, no, not really. So I was still in a bad mood.
Is Lonnie going to keep them from getting 46 in the first quarter? Like
when I still see that like Bryn Forbes gets 19 minutes, Trey gets 20 or not 27, but 17 minutes. It's still like a thing where like, well, Lonnie's going to take those minutes away from both of those guys, and
that is true. That is
maybe
we're not getting beat by the guards that much. You know what I mean?
But again, I like it's stuff like that where it's like the starting unit had the beginning of the game in their hands, and the game got away from them that early. They put up 46 points in the first quarter. That's not on Trey, and that's not on Bryn, and I don't think Lonnie's going to save.
And I don't think he's going to affect the game that defensively. Like he's not that kind of a player, but I still think that like there could just be a little bit of a turnaround. Let's just say Lonnie gets some momentum at the end of the first quarter, and it just pushes us to have, instead of a 26-point second quarter, maybe we're pushing a 32-point second quarter, and we're keeping a little bit more consistency. You know what I mean?
Fine offensively the whole game. We put up 115.
And that's what I'm saying. Like what if it becomes a shootout? What if it's more just like, all right, our offense versus their offense?
It already was. I meant to say that we kind of were going like keeping up with them for a little bit, and then like to start the game, like the first 6 minutes, and then like just like blew up wide open and like in our faces. Like they put up 46 in the first quarter.
But it was just so it just felt like we like anytime hang on, let me get back to their
And how many threes did they hit in the first quarter? Right? Didn't they like?
Too many.
It went crazy,
10.
right?
Yeah,
Too many.
threes.
You know what it reminded me of? Now that I'm thinking about it, it was like when we played Boston. I'm not even, and that's the thing is like I'm not even like talking about the threes, although it stemmed from this. I feel is like the same time when we played Boston, it was like Jason Tatum wouldn't feel any pressure from us by the time until he was like 1 foot from the basket. Then he can finally feel us, and that's how it felt for Gordon Hayward every time he went to the basket. Bridges every time he went to the basket. Say even a little bit with like Terry Rozier, but not really. But like those two guys. Oh, is it Jalen McDaniels? Is that the guy who like he's a little taller than I wasn't ready for him. I think there was one guy that I just haven't seen play but was right in line with the rest of those guys. Just we were allowing their size just to get them wherever they wanted, and then boom, kick out, boom, kick out, boom, kick out. And they made tough shots. But let me say real quick. Having like there was times at the beginning of that Charlotte game where I was like, at this point, Doug's not hitting any shots. He's not being aggressive enough to shoot him anyway. I wanted to see like Keita Bates at the 4 to just try to match up a little bit bigger with them. Move KJ to the 3 that bolsters that position up. Keep Derek and Lonnie out there, and then maybe you got to rely on Vassell and Doug as your 3-4 on the bench. I don't know. Like what would you guys have been down for, like trying to beef up something like that, like at the beginning? I wanted to see it early because I just felt like we were small, like right out the gate.
Well, they felt
small. Like that to me.
They as soon as like Plumlee would go to the bench, that's when we were forced to go small as well.
See, and that's, I guess maybe that's where my head is at too. Is like, okay, I could feel it, right? I was like, well, they're not super like they didn't have that center, like you said, right? But at the same time, like we would go even smaller. Like, okay, so their starting lineup is here and we're here, and then when they drop down, we would drop down too. I'm like, why don't we just? I don't know. That maybe that's probably what bothered me too, man.
Yeah,
I just felt like we were conceding that size all night long, and when you do that, like it felt like that in the whole first half of the Utah game too. And that's why I was bringing it up, because when I was watching Utah last night, same exact thing. It was like I was just looking at the replay. It's like the 7-minute mark. Excuse me. Gobert takes his first sit, and then they just keep Jakob out there to go against Whiteside for like so much longer, and then we just created this mismatch where Drew was out there against Gobert for like a lot of that second quarter. I hated watching that, man. I hated it.
I think my biggest problem with that was seeing us like try to run Drew against Rudy Gobert offensively. Like that, and I tweeted that out. I was so angry at seeing like I think like 2 or 3 possessions where it ends with Drew trying to either do a hook or trying to go on a contested layup against Rudy Gobert, and I'm like, why? Why Drew Eubanks of all people? Why are we trying to do that with him? Like if Jakob's going against Rudy Gobert, that's 2 7-footers trying to go at it, right? And I can't necessarily be.
And you want to challenge Gobert because you have to let him know like that you're gonna attack the rim. But with Drew it was rough.
I was like, dude, like why are we running plays where Drew Eubanks is getting the ball and putting it on the floor and then trying to attack Rudy Gobert? Like that's not gonna end in anything good. And I will say, like, I mean, when I saw Lonnie Walker going up against Rudy Gobert right at the end of that game, I was like, "Oh my God, what is like? Are we trying to draw like in that like last moment?" I was like, "Is it a foul? Like, is that what we're doing here?" And then Lonnie just hit the layup, and I was like, "Oh my God, like you're kidding me!"
Did you see somebody had tweeted a picture and it said like this resulted in a made basket, and it was like him in the midair with Gobert like all over.
Yeah, all over him.
I was watching it on my phone and it froze, right? Like it froze when they were doing the inbound, like all before the play had started. So I was like, oh my God, trying to refresh. So it finally refreshes, but it just freezes again. So it just shows like another still image, and it was basically that same exact image, right? So I go from out of bounds, I'm like trying to see what happens, and then boom, I see Lonnie like this with Gobert all the way over, and I was like so mad. I was like, oh my God, this is the look we got. And then I see when it finally comes back, he's standing like this, and then they show the replay. I was like, he freaking made that shot. I can't believe it.
It does not seem like he should have made that shot whatsoever.
That was ice cold.
Yeah,
DJ, right? It was DJ and Derek and Lonnie. They all hit big ass shots down that
Big time.
stretch.
And KJ,
Big
honestly,
time.
I would say like that fourth quarter stretch was like you can't say that one person took it over, because all of our guys like had their moment to shine, and they all did exactly like KJ hitting his three, Derek hitting like that mid-range shot.
And
Um,
Derek's came after DJ hit like maybe he hit a couple shots and then he took a few and missed it, or they started to kind of clamp on him a little, and Derek like had that look in his eyes like give me the ball, right? And they swung it back over to him. Boom, he hits one shot right there, like right around the free throw line, and then you could just feel it, like he was like I'm ready too. So yeah, it was great to watch, man. I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was ready to take that extra step up, like for who was going to be that guy that night, and I was super happy to see that, because, like, don't get me wrong, I like it whenever DJ takes over a game, and it's always cool to see him be like, oh, I'm the leader of this team. I want the ball in my hands, and I'm going to try to make my point across, right? But like you said, you could tell that they started making that defensive scheme like we're stopping DJ from trying anything.
And did you see that Lonnie, like after the game, Lonnie said that the play was for DeJounte.
Was for DJ.
It was for DJ, and they covered him up. So Lonnie said he just improvised, and I mean that worked out great. But it was for DJ. That play was for DeJounte.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm glad we want to try to do that, but I'm also like very much happy that I'm like these guys are also taking it in their own hands to say, I want this moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and it stems from some of the things that we've seen before. Like, we talk about how there's times where Bryn has that attitude, but it seems like Bryn's the only one who has that attitude. And so it was great to see three, sometimes like 3 or 4 guys out on the floor at the same time who all kind of were feeling like that. Because then it feels like they're playing unselfish. Like it feels like we're doing it for each other. You know what I mean? It was in Utah, crowd, like you said, on the road.
The atmosphere like that, like they didn't back down, they didn't falter. That was a big big time like atmosphere, like getting,
up until that last possession, like Donovan Mitchell was still killing us on like for his offense. Like he was just getting to wherever he wanted, taking whatever shot he wanted against whoever was guarding
the defenders right on the top of the key.
He split the defenders. He got that and one against Derek. Like dude did whatever he wanted, and that like when your star player is hitting shots like that, the crowd's gonna be amped.
And then he missed
the atmosphere. When did he miss his layup?
The last shot.
Their last. Yeah. Other than his heave.
And that's but for the most part, right? Like you're still like you're seeing your star player hit those shots, and you're just like, all right, like this is their game to win in that sense, right? Like this is that atmosphere. Like this is the Donovan Mitchell took the Jazz and carried them home for that night, right? But then we were like, no, we're not going to let that happen. We're gonna keep fighting back, and we're going to show that we want it just as much as you guys do and more, because we came out with this win, especially with that play call at the end for the Jazz. I have no idea what they were doing. No idea what that play call was at the end.
Yeah, because it felt like he was kind of a last resort, right? Coming from that far away from the basket.
Mm-hmm. A 3-point shot that far away, like that much of a heave, is like, dude, that's ain't no way that was the play
running right towards Jakob Poeltl, and also, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no way that was supposed to be the shot that they're trying to
maybe Jakob did a good job of covering up all that stuff behind
our
him.
defense. I mean, just credit our defense, because we played good defense in that last possession.
No miscommunications.
Yeah.
I will say this, like I wanted to tie these 2 points together, the Charlotte and the Utah game. Seeing like the Charlotte game where we made runs, I think we got it down to like 8 points at one point in Charlotte, like in the third quarter, and then it immediately just blew right back up, ballooned right back up, and then like it kind of felt like our guys were like, well, we tried. But the Utah game, like we did the same thing. We let the team just get like on fire, just like a Denver game like a week and a half ago, where like they like hit a bunch of threes right before the end of the half. They hit a bunch of shots, and their lead starts to get bigger. But then the guys came right back in that third quarter and responded. Like they put up that 40-point third quarter, and it was just like on the back of that Charlotte game, it felt like a really good like response to being down and then being able to just claw your way back up. And then not only like get back into the game, but like stay steady, like Jake has been saying, like blow for blow with like a guy like Donovan Mitchell in Utah. Like
because even before the crunch time, it was like 11 points, 9 points, 11 points, 9 points, and it just stayed right there back. Like it never.
And
we were able to just hold the line.
I felt like that was a fight between Derek White and Michael Conley. That was
oh yeah, that was
like the
great.
thing that I was seeing, and I was honestly like I was super happy seeing it, like a little frustrated in the moment of just like, my goodness, we cannot stop Mike Conley right now. But like in retrospect, I was just like, that's awesome. I love seeing guards.
I had tweeted at the beginning of the game. I said Murray White versus Conley Mitchell should be fun, but at the same time, in my head I was thinking that too. I was like, it should be fun. I hope it's fun and not like the other thing. Yeah, it was funny too because it's like Conley. I mean, shoot, we've been watching Conley do this for years, right? So, back to Memphis,
Memphis days.
So like we know he's a baller, even though he kind of had some injuries, right? And that I think people for a little bit was like, can he be? What we think he's going to be or whatever. But it was funny because it was like we had our throwed out guy and they had their throwed out guy running around. Hey man, that guy can shoot, man. Still.
Anytime we let him open, there was that one play that like one little possession, 2 corner threes wide open and he bricked both of them. I was just like,
I'll take it, boy.
This has got to be our, like, we got to take this advantage and just like run with it right now. But
I was glad like we were able to come back to it because we just started so sloppy. So I was glad like you said we were able to kind of settle down.
I was going to point out, Chris, because last year you were like super high on Rudy. You kept saying, "Oh, Rudy, Rudy." Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And Keldon was making that guy look super slow a couple times, man. And I was like, well, I mean, as much as I'm like rooting our team, like I do not miss that. Like exactly what I was.
Keldon was ready to be like rising for his layup, laying the ball in, and Rudy was still staring.
Rudy tried to go after
the jumps like after the ball's already in.
He tried to go after Jakob right at the beginning, and he used up all his juice.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he did get that. I was pretty surprised to see it, but Rudy got up there to block Devin's shot. No, I don't think I've seen anybody block Devin's shot. And Rudy,
Sean Elliott said that he goes that's the first time I've seen somebody block Devin's shot in a year and a half.
Yeah, and it was Rudy, and I was like, oh my god, Rudy got up there to block that shot because
he's just huge. He's just huge, yeah.
But in that like in the same game, Devin does a mid-range pull-up over Rudy Gobert.
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, like a 6'7" guy is shooting over a 7-footer.
Did you see DeJounte hit a jumper on Rudy and they were kind of
right
like,
at him?
Yeah, and he said something to him. He was like, talking his talk whenever he came back. It was pretty funny. No disrespect to Rudy though.
We didn't fear that guy.
There were many times in this game and last game, even if it's just in small spurts, where we could have used a guy like Rudy Gay at the 4. Just saying.
The size, the length, the versatility,
and not for an extended period of time, but for a period of time, like a Keita Bates, like that frame.
But better. I would have just had that much more offensive power that Rudy has compared to a guy like Keita.
Hey, Rudy did have that one like back down over Devin Vassell, put him on his back, did a little quick little jumper, and it was like we don't have too many guys like that. Obviously, I think Rudy only had like the one bucket like all night. I don't know, but like we do need a guy like that who could kind of steady from the inside with size. Like everybody else is just catch and swing, catching. Now we do run plays for Keldon where he does like his like little like quick little move, and he does his like little floater right over the top of somebody. And so maybe Keldon can get to like that point where
that's what I'm saying. That'll come. I mean, Rudy is a vet and he knows how to use his body.
Top 5 pick, I think too. So,
but also the thing is like we just don't have anybody who is as big. I mean, Keita Bates is probably the most comparable person.
You just talking about size wise.
Yeah, I'm just saying like the size at the 4. We concede so much size at the 4. Like we tried Keldon Johnson at the 4 last year, and this year because of having Doug out there. I don't really know if they would consider him the 3 or the 4. I think that they put him at the 4, but because we have him out there, like, we still have to kind of make Keldon Johnson our power forward. He's like the muscle between the two of them. He's just little.
There's been multiple times this year that we have seen Keldon Johnson at the 5.
That's so I like that. I'm just like we that's something that we have brought over from last year that I'm like, we tried that, it don't work, and I don't want to see it anymore. Like, but at the same,
we have talked about how Zach Collins is not healthy. Like we're not healthy. Like our bigs. Like I mean, it's gonna be a, we're gonna be shuffling people until actually this month, right? It was supposed to be December, January.
Yeah.
For Zach, but once he comes back, then I think we'll see what we have and what we have.
To be honest, I like Doug, but Doug, like when he needs to be aggressive in terms of shooting the ball and looking for shots, or just shooting the ball. We need a lot of attempts from him, because the longer that we go out there and he's not doing that, like that's when I start to feel like we're conceding things, like not on purpose, but like it just feels like we're giving up a disadvantage, you know what I mean? Or we're not taking what his advantage would be. And it's like, okay, if he's not going to be out there shooting threes, I would rather get bigger, if that's me talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because on the defensive end, that boy got them concrete feet.
Dang, man.
That boy be stuck to that ground.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I said that too at the beginning of the Utah game. I tweeted out saying, like, that's what I want to see, because if when you see like they have Bojan at their 4 position, he's big, but he's going to look to be productive on offense. I don't really follow him to know if he's a good defender, but I know he's smart with the ball. So it's like we need to not let him get comfortable and feel like he's the biggest guy out there at the 3 and the 4. And Doug did all right. Bojan still got pretty comfortable.
Doug had that one little lockdown possession against Jordan Clarkson, right? When he tried to go 1-on-1 at him.
That's probably what we do. We just park. That's what I'm saying. We just park him on smaller guys. But I'm like, man, like then who? Like, what are we doing then? Like we're right now it feels like we're okay with putting like DeJounte on guys like that at times. You know what I mean? And just living with that. And it's like, I guess, man.
Speaking of Jordan Clarkson, I just want to like point out like his stat line was like 21, 2, and 4 on 8 for 15. Our very own Jordan Clarkson, Lonnie Walker, went 19, 5, and 4 on 8 for 15. So I kind of want to just like bring that out there just to show like that's exactly what I'd love to see Lonnie be.
Well, I told you that like a couple episodes ago.
I mean, like I told
you to stop giving up on people, because look at the guys like Jordan Clarkson and the
I haven't given up. I haven't given up on Lonnie. I haven't said anything like that to say that like what
did you say last week?
I said, get him out of here.
No, I have not said that I have given up on Lonnie Walker.
You go up and down Twitter, and that's all. Get Lonnie out of here. Blah blah. I'm like, God dang. They want all stars when they're 22 years old.
I've never said that Lonnie Walker was like that guy that's gonna like raised to be an all-star or whatever. If he does, that's great. But if like that's not what I realistically see him as. But like Juan calling him J.R. Smith. Like I do remember you saying the guys like Jordan Clarkson. I've said KCP before. And honestly, that's just like guys that are just like those rotational spark plugs, right? And the fact that Lonnie is finally being able to show that is what he's being able to do these last 2 weeks is wonderful. It's like the thing that I really want to just like bring out, that Lonnie has been able to prove he's starting to become a little bit more consistent. Like that's all I want. I just want consistency. I'm not asking for 20 points every night, and right now he's on a streak. He's getting close to 20 points every night. But I'm asking just more consistency. And a guy like Jordan Clarkson, he's a 6th man because he was consistent with what he was doing. He was consistently putting up 12 to 15 when he wasn't hot, and then he put up 25.
On top of his reputation of his energy and the aggressiveness that he's going to come out with when he checks into the game. And that's equally as important when you're trying to have a role on the bench like that, is you want people to know like, oh damn, now they're checking him in, like, here's another guy who's just going to keep the foot on the gas. Like want, if Lonnie could have that reputation, that'll be awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
that'll come. Happy birthday, Lonnie. Happy belated.
Yeah. Right. Happy late birthday. Right.
How old is he now?
23, little baby still.
Nice. Nice.
It's just one of those things where I'm glad I saw that like Lonnie and Jordan Clarkson, the two pretty much 6 men on both teams, matched each other in that sense. I would honestly say Lonnie does more because Lonnie's a better defender, but like that's what I love to see. I want to see that kind of stuff.
You don't think that like this type of stuff is starting to show now because it has been like 20 or 30 games and now it's starting to get like more of a flow and consistency with it, starting to get more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely like we've seen it with everybody. Like I think, like you said, I mean, to start it off, it was DJ and Devin showing that they were both in comfortable roles, comfortable doing whatever they needed to do. Then we started to see KJ start to come along with his 3-point shooting. Derek starts to control the game a lot better, and now we're seeing Lonnie do his thing, right?
And then I would also just throw in that I feel like other than his his COVID thing stopping him, I feel like Jakob has been pretty consistent all year too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jakob has been the most. Well, I guess DeJounte and Jakob hand in hand the most.
If it wasn't for the injury, then you could make the argument for Jakob to be the most. But yeah.
Well, I mean, so the fact that I didn't even bring up Jakob to me makes it seem like it's like obvious that he's been doing his thing, like he's been doing it and doing it at a very productive level where we're not like saying I need Jakob to do more or what are we doing with Jakob out there, right? Like I think it's obvious that we know
his role is way simpler from the jump, like to fit right in and feel more comfortable because it's a lot more rudimentary.
And then pop shots that Jakob has been throwing up, I love them.
I like him, but it's still like I wish that he had that, his layup game and a dunk game. It feels like he's never going for, like, you won't see like all three of them in one game.
Yeah,
you're right.
I agree.
We're seeing different stages of Jakob every night. But it's still good just to see that like you're saying, like the comfortability of this team right now. It makes me wonder.
We're gonna need it, man. We're gonna need it.
It makes me wonder what we're gonna do whenever we do have Zach Collins come in. Like if that makes it a wrench at all. If it's like
and that could be soon.
If our gears are finally starting to run, and then we add Zach Collins, and maybe that's like a wrench in the gears, or maybe it's just another thing that just keeps everything cranking, you know.
And also last night was the first or one of the few times I would say, right, that Jock has gotten in with like not garbage time, but in the game.
Yes.
And I personally would say that his defense was not bad.
Highlight reel.
I would say his defense was not bad. It was nothing that I could like. I would be like, oh, this was terrible.
Was there? Did he gave up a few like 3-pointer attempts, right? Like him kind of getting sucked in a little bit or something like that.
I think that's more of us just making sure that Rudy's not.
Maybe. Yeah. No, I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, is that? Am I correct in thinking that?
I think so.
Okay. I do remember him kind of just being like way far away from a shooter a couple times. But go ahead.
Just to put it out there, Jock Landale did end the game with our highest plus minus of plus 14.
That was that run in the third quarter, right?
That was yeah. I mean, and it was his stretch that he had in that third. So it was just like, I think the thing that I loved the most was the fact that we pretty much put out a stretch 5, and it made Rudy Gobert have to stick out that much more.
Yeah. He didn't hit his. I think he only took 1 3 attempt.
He only took 2 shots. He only took 2 shots, but that's like the 1 3 that he took is more than enough to say, hey, he's a stretch big.
Just to have him out there.
So let me ask then, because I think literally during that run was the time that I was kind of doing some other things around my house, so I was like watching it, but kind of like the phone was sitting on my counter while I was kind of moving around a little bit. Would you say that them pulling him out, like, did we get most of our points during that run, like attacking the rim because Gobert was stepped out? Like what was the consequence of that? Because me personally, like the only thing that I would have done differently for that whole second half was I did not want to see Jock Landale out there against Rudy Gobert. I wanted him to be out there against Hassan Whiteside. I think that would have been perfect for him to make an impact more offensively too. You know what I mean? But apparently, you know, we did well, obviously, like you said. So like, I don't know, what did you see of like how that run, how were we able to push that run?
I would have to crank that to one, our hot hands. Like, I mean, like it's not just us attacking the rim. Like our guys were shooting good in that third quarter stretch. But obviously like that's just like a kind of like a multitude of things in that sense. If we're shooting good, then that means that they have to run out a lot more than they usually do. So that means that we have more opportunities to attack the rim at that point.
Yeah.
So like it's like in my head, like I can't 100% tell you that like Jock being out there for Rudy to step out is like
because if we're hitting
why.
shots, then it doesn't matter even if Pirtle's down low, it's the
Yeah.
same.
But I would say that it's still a factor that like maybe there's one or two possessions that we were able to just attack the rim, and Rudy Gobert was just one step behind because he's standing out there against Jock Lindell instead of being able to sit closer to the paint.
Jock was a swingman a couple times way out there. You know,
and other than Jakob, who has a very like pretty much probably knows the game plan a lot better than the rest of our bigs. Jock is a very good offensive passer. Like he moved with the ball very well. It was the thing where like I mean, I like Dad a little bit more on that end, but it like if they both knew the playbook, they would both be close to the same in terms of like how they run with ball movement in that sense. So I was really happy to see that too, because the second Jock had the ball in his hands, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't like, oh my God, don't put the ball on the floor. It was like, okay, if he puts the ball on the floor, he has option A, B, C, or D that he can make. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's nothing that I'm like super scared of to see Jock doing when he has the ball in his hand like that. Whereas like Drew, I'm like,
but like wouldn't you have liked it a little bit more if he had the ball and Whiteside was defending him? Wouldn't you feel more like even more comfortable, more confident in like us getting some points through him?
A little bit. I mean, Hassan Whiteside's still a good shot blocker. Like he's still,
but even I mean, he's huge.
He is huge, but he's not the same as like a JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee uses speed, uses his size. He has good footwork. He has good like he's way more like fundamentally sound. Like Whiteside looked rough yesterday, man. He was real slow. He was real clumsy. He does not have a good footwork. Like that little spin he did. That was not even the first time that he looked real kind of foolish with the ball in his hands. Like I don't know, like I was like way like does nobody see like that this is kind of like a weak point for them right now? Like that was how I was feeling watching the game. But I don't know.
In a half court setting, I don't think it matters too much. In the fast breaks, it could, but I don't see Jock being like the head of a fast break kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just trying to think of like I really liked last night's win. I was just really thrown off by how many times we'd let Yak go sit down with Gobert on the floor. Like that was way surprising to me, way surprising. And so like Jock is just kind of thrown in there, in that.
Yeah, no, I mean, overall this week was fine for us in the aspect of that Jazz win and the New Orleans win. Because I think like we didn't really talk about the New Orleans win all too much, and it was very straightforward. It was just us being able to handle our business and not necessarily let them control the game at any point. Especially seeing I didn't get to watch the New Orleans game all too much, especially like that fourth quarter. But seeing that we held them to 15 and kept our same little average.
We also got Valanciunas in foul trouble kind of early, and that helped us out big time.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with Brandon Ingram and Valanciunas, they clearly the best two players on their team right now. No Zion. They just look kind of helpless, like surrounding those guys. And when it was mainly just Brandon Ingram on the court for like most of the game, and you kind of feel bad for the guy because he's just ISOing and like having to hit tough shots, and he hit a bunch of tough shots just like right over like our guys. But like you said, just kind of handle the business. Just didn't like let a bad team, didn't let a team like shorthanded like for most of the game like fight or like make it a game somehow. So
yeah, and I think in a perfect world we're putting this team away in the late third going into the fourth, so we have a lot of garbage time. It was pretty neck and neck until we outscored them 29-15 in the fourth. Other than that, we outscored them by 2 in the first. We tied in the second, and they outscored us by 1 in the third. So it was a close game until the end. We just had more, had more firepower across 48 minutes.
Feels like we just kind of put it away as the fourth quarter went along. Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. In a perfect world, a game like this, we would have been able to see more of our younger guys. You know what I mean? Have some garbage time to work through that phase of the game, so to speak. But still, a good win. Holding off an NBA opponent, for 48 minutes. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's look forward because we got 3 more. Big.
This is part
games.
of a 4-game road trip.
Yeah, big games. We got tomorrow. Tomorrow for us. If you're watching this video, it is today. Later on this afternoon at 5 p.m. We'll be taking on Sacramento. First of a double header or a back to back. The next day on Monday we'll do a 9:30 against the Clippers, and then 2 days off. So that'll be good. 2 days off. For the boys, not even having to leave town because they'll be staying to play the Lakers. So starts off with Sacramento, right? Huge in terms of we've been dancing around each other for this past month, both around that 11-12 seed. Let me pull the standings up real quick. As of right now, the Kings are actually in the 10th seed, tied with the Blazers at 12 and 18, and then we're right behind them at 11 and 17. So. We could be sitting at the 10th seed tomorrow, I guess, maybe.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm both very excited and very scared for this week. Sacramento and the Lakers are both teams that have had a lot of cases of players going into health and safety protocol.
Yeah.
And so one, that's chances for us to take advantage of teams not having their full depth out there. But two, that's scary because that's we're going right into the places that have got that people are getting exposed at.
And that's what kind of did us in last year, right? I think it was Washington. We went to Washington and then we had people miss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we were never the same.
So going to Sacramento, going to LA, we just have to hope that our guys will be able to keep themselves healthy and not have to go into any protocols or anything like that that'll make us miss the weeks after that, right? Obviously we've been super lucky. Clearly, like I said, both Sacramento, LA, who else can I think of off the top of my head? Chicago, now Brooklyn, right? So that's a couple teams that especially three teams that are competing at high seeds that have been hit with health and safety protocols, and it's affecting the league a lot right now, and I hope that it doesn't affect us too much. I hope that we can be able to just kind of push through it and be able to not catch any of the cases.
Yeah, and it bodes well for us. Not to get political or anything like that, but just if you look at the responses that our players have had, it's been a lot of we are actively trying to be careful, and we're wearing our masks, and we're doing this, and we're trying to do they're saying the right things, and it's looking like it's helping. You know what I mean? We haven't had too many. Not to, you can't speculate too much on that because you could do everything the right way and still end up catching it one way, through multiple different ways.
Look at the statement that Emmanuel quickly had the other day. He was like, I shower with my mask on, and then I think a couple hours later he said that he got hit with the protocols. So it was something to see. See.
So, but it's a humbling reminder, right? It's you can do everything you can, and it could still work out, and it could still kind of go south a little bit. So at least they're saying the right things, and we just try to we're hoping for health and safety all the way across, and not just for us, for everybody in the league, right? And not even the basketball side of it, which is dang man, these teams are missing out and having to play games without some of their players that can hurt their records and all that kind of stuff, but just the health part in general, you know what I mean? Not wanting to see, I would hate to see anything from any player turn into worse, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And which we've had a couple players already this year with health and safety protocols. Yak was out for a while.
Yak and Jock, right? Yak and Jock.
Yeah, both of those guys. So I'm sure our team is checking things pretty seriously, because nothing else came out of that. It wasn't one of those where it was branching off and hitting everybody on the team. I think we had a couple of staff members with it as well. But I agree with you guys. The guys are coming out and saying they're pretty aware of everything that's going on around the league, not just the NBA, the NFL, not just the NFL, the world. A lot of people everywhere. Obviously, it's holiday season, so. Yeah. It's kind of hard not to, because you just never know. Everybody gets got by it somehow. So you just got to do the best you can to be ready for it. Be prepared. And
it springs up the question for me. I want to get your guys' opinion on it. But I don't think I'm seeing any type of postponements from the NBA until after Christmas, just because
they
of the
already
view
postponed a couple of games
for
Chicago.
for Chicago, right?
I think he means like mass.
Like I'm talking about like yeah, like
league
within
wide,
The
like
NBA has
yeah.
postponed the season.
Like all games for today are done. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. And I don't see them doing anything like that until after Christmas, maybe even after New Year's, just because of viewership, because of they want that money
They want their money. Yeah.
from seeing LA and Brooklyn play on Christmas Day and stuff like that, right?
yeah,
But
with Patty Mills is the only guy who's known name starting for
Yeah,
the
Exactly.
Brooklyn Nets.
I know it makes no sense if I mean, yeah, they're gonna play, but who the hell's gonna play?
yeah, no kidding. But I don't see them postponing until after like Christmas or New Year's. Would How acceptable would y'all be to like a either like a 2 week postponement, or even like maybe like a month long, like they're gonna stop the league for this whole month of January, and then we'll get basketball back in February, and we'll kind of go into June at that point, right? June and July for the finals.
That was in the bubble.
Right. Well, I mean,
We'll get Bubble Derek back.
think thinking back to like the very beginning, like they did. How long was that first where they postponed the league? It was like a week or something like that. 2 weeks.
Talking about
I think it
way
was just
back?
indefinite. I'm
Like
pretty sure it was just indefinite.
Yeah, it was indefinite, but like how long did it end up being, right? Before they started playing again? It was not that long, maybe like a couple weeks, or maybe it was like a month. It was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
I
Talking
think
about
once
the initial like bubble season.
So like yes, the initial one they said we're postponing games like indefinitely, and then
I don't think it ever started back up until the
bubble.
bubble.
Yeah.
So how long was that?
It was longer than an off season.
Longer than an off season.
Dang.
That's why I remember, because they were talking about like LeBron. It benefited LeBron so much.
Oh,
He
yeah, I
had
guess,
longer than
yeah.
off season to recoup, and then
Yeah, you're right. Dang. Well, so like I mean, in this case, first of all, Jake, like I agree. Like from probably about a month ago, when you would start to see more frequent, like this team has a player now, this other team has a player now, like entering the protocols or whatever. It did feel to me like, okay, it feels like they're trying to do what they can to not have to cancel anything leading up until Christmas. Like that's just kind of what it felt. It was like they're not going to shut it down before that day, just because those are marquee games and blah blah blah. Which sucks because you see a little bit of the other side of the league of like they're willing to go push through something that maybe they shouldn't or whatever. But nobody's gotten seriously hurt yet, so I mean I guess they're justified in wanting to keep going. But I don't know. I think a small shutdown could maybe give them enough time to bolster up their protocols a little bit, or decide what kind of stuff.
How many teams did you say was that now? I think if it gets to like a third of the league, they have no choice. They'll have to kind of slow it
Yeah,
up.
let me run it down real quick. Boston has 5 players. These are people who are on the protocol list. Boston has 5, Brooklyn has 10, Chicago has 7, Cleveland has 2, Golden State with 1, Indiana with their head coach, the Clippers with 1, Lakers with 5, Memphis with 1, Miami with 1, Milwaukee 4, Minnesota 2, New York 6, Orlando 5, Philly 1, Kings with 4 players plus their head coach, Toronto with 2, and Washington with 1. So a lot of different teams.
Yeah.
And the one and not that this matters because every player is important, but the ones that do have like one player, it's like Ja Morant, Kyle Kuzma, like you know what I mean, like ones that you would not want to be missing, or even just like their head coach. It's like, dang man, that sucks.
And then I feel like it's not gonna get any better from here. Like it's Christmas and then New Year's, like type of get-togethers, the events. Everybody's got families.
Yeah.
It's not gonna just fizzle out from like this point. I don't believe so. So I'd expect to see more and more.
Yeah, and they've talked a little bit, right, about changing up their protocols and this and that. I don't mind. Like I know the players that probably don't like it overall because it's kind of invasive and more, whatever. But I think that they probably will go closer to like the testing that they were doing while they were in the bubble and how like stringent all that kind of stuff was. I feel like they will go back to doing stuff similar to that. Like, I don't mind like I know the players that probably don't like it overall because it's kind of invasive and more, whatever. But I think that they probably will go closer to like the testing that they were doing while they were in the bubble and how like stringent all that kind of stuff was. I feel like they will go back to doing stuff similar to that. Like which I know that they already do a lot. I mean, they think they test multiple times a day. Well, I think now that they have vaccines, I think there are different ways that they do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they just implement a lot more of like, even if you're vaccinated, we're going to test this way, this way, this way.
Yeah, and because I mean, like think about it. How many protocols did we see like last year? Like yeah, we had stints obviously where like for us, like we had our stints where we had a bunch of guys just get hit with it back to back to back, and then it just like it caused a struggle, right? But like there wasn't that many teams that got hit with that last year. Like there like a good couple teams, yes, obviously that like not saying that it wasn't like I would probably say about a third of the league, right? Like but that's like I would say that when it's like a third of the league that's like stagnated in that sense, like it wasn't like a third of the league at one point of the NBA season last year. When it was that stagnated, it wasn't that bad. Like you wouldn't see like as many people be like, whoa, there's too many cases going on for the NBA season to continue. Whereas like now, like everybody's like on top of it. It's just like, look at how many cases there are.
18,
people are ineligible.
18 different teams right now are the ones that I listed. So
I feel like last year the protocols were much harsher on the players. They couldn't go out and they couldn't leave the hotels.
And so that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't. I know the players might not like it, but it's like,
I would say they'd have to go back to close to that at least, not exactly that.
That's what I'm saying. Like you'd have to go back to those things. But I mean, you not that it matters what like the public is saying, but there's people that like have this mindset of like, well, Silver is not really like doing his job. It's like he was doing his job when he shut everything down. Like that's as like a quick response as you could have. And it helped, so it's like I don't see any problems with kind of scaling things back and going back to some kind of thing like that. Obviously, if there's a way that we could do it where we're continuing to play basketball, that's what we want. But I would still put the health and all that kind of stuff first, even 2 years later, even 3 years later. But if I still got to go to work every day, and it still affects my job every single day. It's like, so it makes it's not that out of reach that it's got to affect their jobs too.
No kidding. I think with that though, like talking about Sacramento and how they're pretty depleted. Talking big about LA, time. How they
now
how
that I saw the list,
depleted,
big time.
Like it's got to be these games that we take advantage, right? That we make sure that we don't let them. Don't let them get an easy win over us. Don't let them get like a sneaky win over us, just because they're in protocols, man. And again, that's why I was so disappointed by that Denver loss last week, because of how many players were out. How many players are out due to injury? How many players are out due to protocol? That was our game to win, and we lost it. And the Sacramento game and the LA game, thinking that that the Lakers game, that they're both in the same protocols that they were in today, then we should beat both of those teams. We shouldn't lose to either one of those teams. And then look at how soft AD is right now for the Lakers. Like,
AD's out. They just announced he's out.
He's out for 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But both games against the Lakers this year have been like, we should take this game against them, and then they come out.
One with no LeBron, and one with who was somebody missing that second game?
Well, LeBron was missing the second game.
Yeah,
it was AD and Russell Westbrook. We were talking about like, now's the time. LeBron's out, but
yeah,
like again, those are the type of teams that they come out and they punk us, they big brother us, and like our guys just got to step up, put them down.
The first time we played them was the overtime game, and there was no LeBron. We gave up 35 to Anthony Davis, though.
AD and Russ. Remember that was when Russ too.
Yeah.
We blew that game. We didn't hit free throws.
Yeah.
A lot of like mental from our side.
Yeah. Second time, no LeBron. We haven't played LeBron yet this year.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis put up like 30 in the first half, and
Anthony Davis in the second game put up. He scored 34 in this one too. Yeah. So then this will be our first time. So instead of the AD Lakers, we'll see the LeBron Lakers.
And both
playing?
times. Well,
is LeBron in health and safety? Oh no, yeah, you're right. You're right. He was only in health and safety for 2 days.
He was in health and safety protocols for 6 minutes. And that mobile was out.
As of right now, Avery Bradley, Taylor Horton-Tucker, Dwight Howard, big time. Like that'll help us
Spurs
big
killer.
time. Yeah, Kendrick Nunn and Austin Reeves for the Lakers.
Austin Reeves.
Only Marcus Morris Sr. for the Clippers, and then Sacramento is screwed. Marvin Bagley III, De'Aaron Fox, Alex Lynn, Lewis King, and Alvin Gentry, their coach.
So they have Tyrese Halliburton, Davion Mitchell to just see what they can do.
And
I think Luke Walton,
Rashawn Holmes,
and on the IR. Rashawn Holmes is questionable for Sunday's game against the Spurs with an eye injury.
An eye?
No big man. That means that Chimezie Metu is going to be their starting center.
Oh my God.
Just like you guys said, you got to go out there, you got to put them down, you got to convincingly put this team away.
Yes.
The Sacramento game. These are the games in the schedule where,
and these are the games where I would love for like Chris said, or and Juan, like put them away. That way, Jock can go get some run like early. Like meaningful, I mean, hopefully they're put away pretty quick. But if he could get some run in the second or in the third, and or even play the majority of the fourth, man, that'll be perfect. I mean,
a little bit in the second quarter, a lot in the fourth. That'll be great.
Just like those Primo minutes a couple weeks ago. Like he was getting spot minutes within the flow of the game, but like seeing what he could do while he's in like given the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I would love to see that. And then
maybe we'll get some Primo minutes.
Yeah,
with
how has that guy been?
With that Lakers game, don't get me wrong. I'm so happy, so glad to see Isaiah Thomas come back into the league and be able to make his shine, do whatever he wants to do, and all that stuff. We better destroy him. We better destroy Isaiah Thomas. If I see that lineup of Russell Westbrook, Isaiah Thomas,
he put up like darn near 20,
Rondo,
and they scored like 90 for like the whole game, and so like.
I think he scored 19 points in 15 minutes.
Yeah, and then for them to only put up like 90 in the game, like he basically like helped save them from getting blown up by 50.
Yeah.
And they just barely picked him up. So like again, like I was gonna say earlier, both times against the Lakers, it felt like they're losing to like they're like 1-5 in their last 6 games, and their one win was against us. And then
that's literally how the Knicks were the other day. They were 1-7. I was this sucks. See that stat, I was so mad.
Yeah. Like those are the type of losses we've been having to these teams that are like, we got to get them out of their mindset where they can look at the Spurs and go like, this is a get right game for us.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to start like same thing like Utah. Utah was rolling. They won 4 straight games by 20+ points, and they were rolling against us. And
they had won 8 in a row total.
Yeah, and we just put a stop to it, and hopefully like DeJounte comes out. I feel like DeJounte always says like the right things. He came out and said he's like, hey, we got talent. We believe we can go with anybody in the team or anybody in the league. And when he says stuff like that, like the confidence, I believe it, and I believe they all have that like kind of like swagger to them. Like they know they're kind of looked down upon, but they believe they can compete with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And they can.
We feel the disrespect.
Yeah. Except for some of those games when they just come out flat and
the whole and then they really feel the disrespect.
Yeah, they disrespect the shit out of us.
I will say saying that if we can like take care of business, be able to give our young guys that run. I do hope that we do bring up Primo, maybe Joe, whatever like the case is, to kind of give us some good additional players to run against Sacramento, because if we can get that victory like that, that'll be big time for us to play against the Clippers, because that's still like we haven't talked about that game yet, and that's going to be a tough game. That's not going to be an easy game for us to come out and take care of business. Like we're still going to be underdogs against a team like the Clippers.
I believe the Clippers just lost right now to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that buzzer beater.
Yeah, I think Shea just hit a step back 3.
And it happens. You lose to those teams every now and then. Like I mean, when Shea can do whatever Shea wants to do in OKC, and they can kind of like run with that, they'll get their win or two. And I'm not going to tell you that makes the Clippers like faulty or whatever. Like this is still a team that I'm going to say that like they can get out a good win against us. They can get a good streak behind Paul George, and then just continue to work their way at that point. If
Yeah.
Paul George is
they're off tomorrow, and then we're their next matchup. So we're gonna see their response after a loss. You know what I mean?
How did that first game go? It was like Paul George was doing well. Reggie Jackson kind of killed us, right?
Yeah. So 92 to 106. We were down 5 after 1. We outscored them by 1 in the second. It was the third quarter, 18 to 26. They outscored us in the third, and that was kind of the difference. And then it was only a 2-point difference in the fourth. So 34 from Paul George, 21 from Reggie Jackson. That's kind of it. Brandon Boston Jr. with 13 points was their third leading scorer. Yeah, exactly.
He's a rook.
It went from 34 to 21 to 13, and then Bledsoe with 11.
Yeah.
And then let's see, DeJounte with 26. But talking about big drop-offs, 26 from DeJounte, 19 from Derek White, and then the next two were Thaddeus Young and Keldon Johnson with 10 apiece. I don't see. Oh, this was during our this was during our Jakob Poeltl is missing.
Yeah, and I do remember that now. Zubac, right? What's his name?
Yeah, Zubac. Yeah.
So he was controlling the boards for most of that game. Just like I don't know how many bodies we were throwing like at the defensive board, just trying to get him out of the paint. And
yeah, he's the 13 point. He's their leading rebound for the game. 13.
Yeah, so like having Jakob for this game should help balance that out.
Big time.
And I've been meaning to make a point of this, or like earlier in the year, I was all on, like, I'm still like just the biggest DeJounte fan, but like I was just so adamant about like pointing out that like if DeJounte's not going, like if he's not hitting any of his shots, if it's not falling, then we just fall apart. But like recently, these last couple of weeks, he's been able to have like, instead of like a 20-point triple double, he's having like 10, 10, and 10, and we're getting good wins because of guys like Derek and guys like Keldon, Jakob, everybody's stepping up in all different ways each and every night. And like the load is just not on DeJounte to just have to be perfect every night. So I give props to like all of our guys. I was like early in the season, I was so on the train of just dogging Keldon Johnson for his like the lack of spacing because of his shooting. And it just continues to go higher and higher. He's been on a roll lately, and I'm so glad he shut me up because like I was asking for like Devin and Lonnie to replace him in the lineup just so we can get more spacing out there. And Keldon's opened up the floor for Derek and DeJounte with the way he shoots the ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of some of those guys, and Jake, I'll let you jump in. I just throw off real quick. This also is a game where we had 19 minutes from Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker, and they scored 2 points and 4 points. So like we really didn't get any production from them. 29 minutes from Doug and only got 7 points. 12 minutes from Bryn Forbes and we got 0 points. So it's like there's plenty of room for improvement, right? And the next time we see the Clippers. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, just like Juan was talking about KJ, it's the same thing with Derek. Derek being able to just open up the floor that much more because his 3-point shot is landing, and seeing that like honestly now at this point it's just like, all right, well, let's just see if Lonnie can add in 2% from what he was doing. You know what I mean? Just start hitting down some more of those catch and shoot threes because like his catch and shoot threes just aren't like those wide open threes. Sometimes I'm like, all right, Lonnie, you gotta like knock down at least one more of those a game than you usually do. Because he's open a lot throughout those games, especially when you think about it. If we're seeing Derek and KJ and Doug, and then you're seeing Devin and Lonnie, right there is like those wings, those guard / wings all across the perimeter, and they're all open. That's all knockdown shooters at one point. You know what I mean? Like that should all be knockdown shooters.
Could be, on any given night.
Could be
on any given night. So that opens the floor. That literally like takes away the spacing issues that we've been having all year because now DJ gets to run wherever he wants. Now Trey can be on the floor and make his little floaters. Now Yak has some better looks inside the paint, all that kind of stuff that just is flowing together a lot better. And I still don't want us to like kind of take the game against the Clippers for granted and be like we can just win this game against these guys. But I want to see a better game from our team, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
We give ourselves a good shot, like to win 2 in a row, coming in there feeling good. Hopefully playing good. Yeah, this could be a good day for us.
I think we're gonna beat the Clippers for sure.
I think we could.
I think we can go ahead and go into like the weekly predictions and start saying how we feel about these games, because I think honestly I feel like all 4 of us are going to be in the same boat going into this week.
Are we going bold?
I'm saying we're gonna go 3-0. I'm always the most optimistic out of all of us, but I say that because I did not know that Sacramento is like
that depleted.
Yeah, like good lord, I did not know that, right? But hearing that, okay, so I'm gonna obviously say that's a dub, but I think that we could steal that from the Clippers. Like I feel like the last time we played them, they played us like at our worst. Like we weren't gelling. Like now we're getting things rolling. I think we're gonna see a much better game from all of our guys.
Yeah, honestly, that first
we could
Clippers
carry
game,
that. Oh, go ahead.
That first Clippers game was like DeJounte in the first half. I remember it now. Like DeJounte had like 25 and 5 in the first half, and then it's like what we talk about, like the consistency of like completing a full game without him having to keep that up. That's when I feel like the game fell apart. And so, like, just to your point, like it was not our best game. It was a one-man show, and once he fell off,
I feel like we're rolling right now. Like Lonnie's doing his thing off the bench. I mean, like y'all talked about Derek, y'all talked about DJ, like, and Keldon's 3-point shooting. Like we're in a little groove, man, and we're moving along. Like even though we had that like bad outings,
a few, yeah,
and those are gonna come, but like if we could put together Sacramento, and then we could put together the Clippers, and then go into the Lakers with no Anthony Davis, the guy that killed us the last 2 times, that's a solid like 3 dubs right there. With not a lot of travel, like Chris, you said they're gonna be in LA for back-to-back games with the day off in between. Sacramento's not too far from there, so they'll have like rest in there, and I think it's gonna bode well for our team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 3 dubs. Line them up.
Okay, Juan, what would you put your predictions in?
3-0.
3-0.
Oh. Yeah, so I usually like I get like too hype about this, and like I agree, like you just like you come off like a winning week, and usually the Spurs we respond with a losing week. So like they kind of like let you down, or they kind of fall apart. Young team, inconsistency, all that type of stuff. I think this is a week where they can finally get it right in their heads, coming off a big win in Utah. Like I know we've talked about it. The guys have pointed out themselves, like responding well after wins. So now you have a chance to go into Sacramento, keep that momentum going against a depleted team, and take that into LA. Like Chris said, like hopefully off the back of 2 straight wins.
Mm-hmm.
You win that game against the Clippers, and if the Lakers are really reeling like that, finally take advantage of that. Like take advantage of these teams that aren't playing their best ball or depleted, whatever the case. Take advantage of that. And I just feel like the biggest worry about is the Clippers. Now, I think I said that like last time we played against the Clippers, Lakers back to back, and then we lost both games.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm optimistic. I think our team is, that the inconsistency is there, and that's how like it balances it out. But maybe this is a week where we can respond with at least a winning week. But I'm going 3-0 on the record.
Okay. And then Chris, what do you got?
Both of them are at 3-0. I'll go 3-0 for the same reasons. I'm like night and day when it comes to the last time we played the Lakers and how I felt like we were just bleeding from the center position. No Dwight Howard on the bench. No Anthony Davis. I'm like not afraid of the Lakers at all.
Who's if you can real quick, or at least once you're done with your week, go ahead and find who the Lakers roster, and then just see what their big men look like at that point, right?
Right. I had their roster up, and then I closed it Let's see. Well, I'll look it up. But
yeah, go ahead and finish your.
But yeah, I'm not worried about the.
Was it DeAndre Jordan?
DeAndre Jordan. I mean, I don't. Who else? Jay Huff is the center. Carmelo Anthony's at the power forward. Anthony Davis at the power forward. I mean, that's it. Everybody else is like, who they might throw a Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore at the 4 at times.
LeBron will be
LeBron, yeah, obviously, yeah. LeBron would be their power forward. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of it. So not worried about the Lakers. The Clippers, they have room for improvement as well. I think Kennard didn't really score anything, or he had like 7 points. Nicholas Batum had 0 points. Bledsoe didn't score that many points. So they have room for improvement. But like I said, Lonnie giving you almost nothing. Devin giving you almost nothing. Not having Jock. Sorry. I'm like losing my stuff with Jock and Jakob now. Like I keep on calling Jakob Jock.
Jakob,
yeah. Not having Jakob out there is like, again, like a night and day kind of thing. I do think that, we can't let Paul George get comfortable. And so I think we're just in a way more prime position to actually give him a fight. You know what I mean? So with all that being said, I'm right there with everybody. This is a prime week for us to build on each game as we move on to the rest of the week. We're on the road, so hopefully we just kind of lock in with each other. You know what I mean? And it feels a little bit like that, like where it's we have to lock in because we're the visiting team every night. So I'm ready for it. I want a good week. Plus, I'm on Christmas break now, so I'm trying to like sit and watch these games. So I want wins.
You're finna get 3 of them.
Hey.
Yep. Yeah, I am in the same boat as you guys. I'm gonna say 3-0 as well.
God, you're a copycat, dude.
One, I gotta make sure. I think this is the prime week for us to get the 3-0, and if I don't guess 3-0, then I lose a point, right? So, I think going 3-0 this week is the safe bet to say that this we got to take advantage. We have one challenge this week that is going to be against the Clippers. That I could see going either way, but at the same time, like if it was somewhat of a controlled loss, right? Like in that sense of just like they were able to keep handling business through 48 minutes and we were not able to because of our injuries, because of not having the guys that we needed out there, and then our bench not producing. But I think at this point with us against the Clippers, it's going to be a different story because I'm hoping, this kind of thing where we've kind of talked about it a couple times throughout this last years, where it's like this team feels like if we have 8 to 9 guys that are all in the same boat of how good they are, then you can have 3 guys not hitting shots and the other guys being able to hit shots. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things where we should be fully healthy going against the Clippers. So if we're not having our bench production, well, hopefully our starting 5 is doing what they need to do. Or if our starting 5 isn't doing what we need to do, maybe our bench guys are being able to put that spark and push us that much farther, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the difference between the game against the Clippers back then to the game that's coming into this into this week.
And we're going to need to put away Sacramento. Like that's why I want to put away Sacramento. That way, DJ and Derek and our starters get their rest.
This is like these are the things that we used to see as practices very often during our Big 3 era because we were able to do that and we knew that we were able to do that, right? So we're not in those positions very often this year. So when we see him, it's like, man, like let's take advantage of it. I did want to throw out there, I just looked on the Clippers IR and Paul George did not even play tonight. Paul George was out with an elbow injury for tonight's game, so we'll have to keep an eye on.
If there's no Paul George against us on that Monday night, same like it's even pushed even farther. It's got to be the week where the fact that our guys can play 48 minutes and have hopefully some consistency throughout those 48 minutes, and just guys being able to push it out there and do what they need to do. Like all three games should be that. It should be just us being able to just beat these teams because they don't have that 48 minutes. They don't have that for 48 minutes, and we do.
And I think it's important too, because not to like look too far ahead, but the week after we play 5 games in 1 week. So it's good to just kind of get ahead of yourself and like put yourself in a good position going into that week.
I believe we just did that. Didn't we just have 5 games in 7 nights?
Yeah, it was the Phoenix game to New Orleans on Sunday.
Yeah, not that long ago. We just had 5 games, 7 nights, and that I think that kind of wore us out a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree.
Seeing 5 and 7, and then losing against Charlotte, right? That's something I can understand too. Either way, I think all of us are all in the same boat. We're all thinking that we can push forward into this week. Just to show the updated leaderboards. Right now I'm at 0, Juan's at 0 because I think. Right, so I'm at 0, Juan's at 0, Chris is at -2, Josh at -3 because me, Juan, and Chris all went 2-1, and Josh went 3-0, and we went 2-1 on the week. So that adds a point to all of to me, Juan, and Chris, and Josh is still at his -3.
Jake's lead is gone.
My lead is gone. It is gone because of that 1 week that we went 3-0, and I said we were going to go like 1-2 or 2-1, something like that. I think I said we were going 1-2, and I ended up losing 2 points that week. So I was just like, oh, like, either way though. I mean,
is that why you copied Juan?
Yep, he always copies.
I mean, he did say that it was the safe
for the
bet,
sake of,
and he did say because if he doesn't bet 3-0, he would lose points. So he was playing the numbers a little bit.
That's ridiculous.
A little bit. But I also, I mean, I've said I think I clearly explained how I feel like we could win these games. Like I'm not saying that this isn't a week where it's like, oh, I think we're gonna lose against the Lakers, but I'm still gonna say 3-0. Like, no, I think we can go 3-0 this week. I have confidence that
we will go 3-0.
Just doing a little look back, like on the month of December, I believe we are 1, 2, 3. We're 6-4 in our last 10. We're 5-4 in the month of December. So just being able to finish out December, like with the winning record. I know Chris kind of always like touches on it. He's like, you win the week, win the week. You start working your way back up. So just like I would be completely happy if the rest of the year we just had a winning record each month. Got better each month. We don't have to, have like the 18-game win streaks like the Phoenix. I know the team's not there yet, but like just looking at things like that, looking at the team, at least we're not like a under 500 team like bad like we like to start the year off. We're 5-4 right now. We're playing 500 ball with losses that kind of like.
What are we? 11-16? You said.
I think 17.
11-17.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it.
Yeah, if we could chalk up these 3 wins, I mean, we're getting close to that 500 club.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, like
I've always thought that we were playing better than our record has showed.
For sure, and we still have like you said, those losses that come along the way, and it's not like even at the beginning of the year, like it's not like we're blind to thinking that those aren't going to happen, but you just can't stack 4 of them right next to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it like you said, we can live with all of these losses as long as they're sporadic, as long as if you look back to the stat of like last 10, we got to be in that 6-4, 7-3 for the rest of the year. That would be awesome. You know what I mean? Just right above 500 and we'll be good. We'll be where we need to be.
Yeah. For sure. Before we start to wrap up the pod, the one thing that I do want to bring up, I want to hear your guys' thoughts, your opinions on it, is the Thad situation, because there's been more reports about it, more talk about it, and like hearing that
Twitterverse.
Yeah, hearing that.
Christopher shared an article the other day, and I read it, and now I'm drawing a blank on who it was about, how it said that it forced him to retire.
Oh. James Posey.
James Posey. Like, and I read that and I was like, damn, dude, like, I feel bad for Thaddeus.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll say real quick too. Like, I do, but at the same time, like, I don't think that the Spurs. I do feel like the Spurs. It's in their plans to get him gone. I just think that the deadline to do that is still 2 months away. And in hindsight, if he goes onto a team that is looking at the postseason, then he'll get February, March, April, at least, maybe further, depending on how far the team goes, to be able to play meaningful basketball and blah blah blah. Right? I feel like he'll have his time. Like if it doesn't happen, I'll feel pretty bad for him. But I feel like he knows the situation he's in. I feel like we know the situation he's in.
I just feel like then play him. Like
go ahead and elaborate on what that James Posey article was about.
It was just a man. So I don't know if you know who James Posey is, but like I mean, he was a big time role player in the Boston Celtics time, like Kevin Garnett, that era, right? Well, then he goes to Indiana, thinking he's going to be able to kind of be a part of their like.
It was baby Paul George days.
Yeah, like, right. And Roy Hibbert and all that kind of stuff. So like that was like what his thought, but then that changed. He got traded. Or it was
it was Chris Paul. He went to play with Chris Paul and David West, and then he got traded to Indiana.
Yeah.
But they basically told him, hey, we're going young. You're not going to play.
Yeah.
And he said, I feel like I can contribute, like I could still play at a high level. And they were like, no, sit down. And he said like it ultimately like drove him like. Well, things didn't go his way. He asked for a trade too late. He didn't get his wish. He just sat the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then
the offers the next year were just like nowhere near where he, where his value was at or where he thought he was at. And then he was just like in a blink of an eye, he was just like nobody wanted him anymore. You know what I mean? And that I mean, you see stuff like that happen, like even with the Kemba Walker, like them telling him he's out of the rotation. Even before he went to New York, it was a little bit of like, who wants this guy? I don't think anybody does. You know what I mean? So like it happens. And so I don't want that to happen at that. But I just don't think that it will. So like, I do feel a little bad for him, but I don't feel like that bad just because I feel like it's going to resolve itself. Like I feel like we have a plan to get him out and to get something for him. But I just do think that they're taking their time. They're doing their diligence because this is the last bit of what are we going to get out of the Kawhi trade, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, let's just take our time. Let's maximize what we can maximize. And then, I mean, this has been such a long thing. Just let it play out. It's almost done, but it's not done yet.
Here's my only thing with the with that situation. The whole I have just like a couple little notes that like I've garnered over this last week, and one of them is that like hearing other people talk about the whole dad situation, other people in the Spurs Twitterverse talking about like in a sense like their conversations with other people who are like also like beat writers for other teams, right? And hearing some of that stuff, a lot of it, like a lot of those teams think of Dad and like the Spurs situation in the very same light of DeMar Carroll, of Pau Gasol, of LaMarcus, in the sense of that's all like they could just wait until the Spurs don't trade and then just buy him out. Because that's what the Spurs do.
I do feel like that. Like when people were saying like getting first round picks, like that kind of surprised me because I wouldn't put Thaddeus Young as like a first round pick value.
But like the other teams, they just wait.
It's like the low end, like because if you get a first round pick, it's basically a second round pick because the teams that want them are contenders, and then we'll just get a late ass
late for yeah.
So it's kind of like those first round picks that.
But even then, like a team like Phoenix can still like, even if they know like the value that has, they can still hold it over San Antonio. That it's just like, hey, you usually buy these guys out if you don't trade them, so we could just wait until you buy them out.
To that point, that's what all the talk about with Brian Wright over the summer, like the beginning of the year. That's why he got in those deals, like that 4-team trade, where we just landed like that Hutchinson guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like the little deals we were doing like over the summer, like kind of like in trade talks or like doing like team deals was supposedly to get in good relations with other front offices because everybody's buddies at that level. And then like they were saying that RC Buford and Pop kind of, they have their own little way of life. Yeah. And that's cool. That's fine. But like the whole point is
it does alienate you a little bit from the league.
And so
kind of like Boston. Everybody knew that Boston was fleecing people on trades, and then people stopped wanting to trade with Boston.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And so like when you're friends with people, that's your buddy, that's your friend. They're like, yeah, we can work something out. We'll figure something out. And I feel like that's kind of the whole process we're doing here, and we're trying to do that. Now, the Thad situation, I do feel bad for him. I feel like in the basketball sense, it's the right move not to play him because Pop's not going to let these guys get used to or have to rely on a guy like Thaddeus Young when they know he's going to be out of here.
Yeah, unless you have a plan to replace him with a guy who does similar things.
Yeah,
but I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
So then that goes to my next point because I'm on the opposite side. I'm a little upset that we're not playing Thad and what Pop said in terms of like we're letting our young guys play over him to let them develop. And I'm like, why is Drew Eubanks on our timetable like that? Why does Drew Eubanks take more time?
I think if we had a younger guy that was like in Drew's spot, that let me just say this: if we didn't have Thad, and there was a guy who was just marginally better than Drew Eubanks but younger, like Drew Eubanks will be out of the rotation.
And that's what I'm saying. Like that's why we should play Thad so that we can trade him for a guy like that, literally just like that. That's what like
I don't know if there is any power forwards out there. I want us to get bigger and have value there. I don't know if it's out there.
The other thing that I was hearing,
I wanted Larry Nance. Remember, I told y'all like last year, I want Larry Nance Jr.
I would take a guy kind of like kind of like that. Maybe we do a deal with Portland.
The other thing that I've been hearing about in terms of like Thad trades is like, well, we're lowering his trade value even more because teams like they know that Thad Young is better than Drew Eubanks, but teams can still hold it over us that we're playing Drew Eubanks over Thad Young. It can still be like, well, it's still, I mean, like Juan was right in terms of like the whole like building relationships thing, but it's still the business fact at the end of the day, and holding over the fact that you're playing Drew Eubanks over Thad Young can just put the edge in the trade.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But Drew Eubanks is a center. You're gonna force him to be your small five just because you want to. You know what I mean? It's like we already do that with Brent Forbes. Brent Forbes is another guy that I feel like we have a plan to get him gone somewhere. But that's a guy that when he does play, people are like, "Why the hell are we playing this guy?" You know what I mean? It's like he could easily just do the same thing, be sitting on our bench, which we played well against Utah, and I'm pretty sure Brent Forbes played like almost 0 minutes.
That's why I pointed out last week when Lonnie and Devin are both healthy and like on the lineup together, Brent doesn't get much run. It's been kind of filling in spots for everybody, or like when we go on those offensive droughts. But to the whole point of like Jake saying, like I 100% agree with you, Jake. When it's like, well, so does that mean are we considering Drew part of this team going forward? Like, why else would he get run? Because if both Drew and Thad are gone, like at some point this year or next year, then like, wouldn't you want to just play the better player?
Yeah, but you said like at this year or next year. I think that 100% Drew Eubanks is at least the plan is for him to be on our team for the end of this year, and Thad Williams is not.
Thad Young,
yeah. So, sorry, Thad Young. So like that. So that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? It's
like, at the same time, I feel like we've seen it. There's no reason for us to try to push the idea that Drew Eubanks is going to be a second string center. Like just
the fact that he's going to be on the team for the end of the year, you need to prioritize that guy. Like Juan was saying about getting them used to or whatever. Even if his role is going to get diminished when Collins comes in, you still need
Jock gets more running time.
Yeah, and even if Jock overtakes him, you still need to prioritize Drew Eubanks getting third string reps or reps for when he becomes your third stringer over the guy who's not going to be on your team in 2 months. In my opinion.
I don't know. I think being able to play that guy that's not going to be on your team in 2 months to get future assets to then have somebody who's better than
somebody who are trying to hold out anyway. What does it matter if we're going to play this guy if they know that they're not going to offer us anything until it's the last day?
And that's the thing that's gonna like piss me off too. Like Jake said, like
if we don't get anything,
if we don't do anything, like if that after the trade deadline passes, and if that's still on our team, then I feel like we did just waste we wasted his time because, yeah, play the better guy, like play Thad. Like I mean, I'm not gonna say it's obvious because at the very beginning, remember we were like,
wasted his time in the sense of when he came, he knew what the situation was. The goal is to get you somewhere else. That's the goal.
But he did not. I mean,
he signed his contract. He signed his contract with the Chicago Bulls to like, you know, to do his role with Chicago, and they had everything set in stone, and then they trade him. Like, this isn't what he wanted.
Yeah, he did not want to come here. Okay, but again, even if he knew, like, yeah, he knew the deal. Like, it's not what he wanted. Yeah, like I'm there's you're not gonna tell me he came over here and be like, all right, well, I mean, I'll sit this.
No, I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is that like it was known what the plan was from the beginning, and so like there's still time.
And that's speculation. We don't know if there's. You don't know if our whole idea was to trade him from the get-go.
I mean.
Especially when the offer was there. The offer was there for us to get Dario Saric, Jalen Smith, and I don't think it was a pick. Like, it was like something not too long ago that like the offer was there that we could have, not the pick, not the draft capital, but it just would have been Jalen Smith and Dario Saric for that. Now I don't think that's ideal. I don't want that.
That's saying that offer was offered.
Yeah, like that was like what Phoenix was given, but we wanted the pick. We wanted to have the late first round capital. And honestly, like I agree with us kind of not taking that deal, adding another player.
I mean, it's just what we're holding out a little bit, and other teams are holding out.
Yeah,
and that means that is on the back burner until then. But that's why there's deadlines. And that's why there's, it would suck. It would suck for us if we let it go all the way to the end and we have to just buy him out. That would suck. And I don't even know what that would look like in terms of our financials or whatever. But, I mean, that still gives Thad Young time to finish his season the way that he wants to finish his season. And that's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, we would have got him and the next day shipped him out for a first round. You know what I mean? Like, yes, perfect. But it's just, it's all right. He'll be okay. I think in the end, I feel like he's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I do feel bad
for him. I do feel bad for him because he does say all the right things every step of the way, and then it's like these behind the scenes comments where he's like, "I just want to play."
Yeah, and I'm not trying to bash the guy. I mean, I'll be honest. If I'm being honest, he does move the ball well, and I'm glad that things don't like stick. But like he has. To me, he's like a flip of a coin left and right. Like he looks so clumsy sometimes too, and he doesn't really have a lot of a lot of finesse. So when he doesn't like hit the things that he wants to hit, it looks really rough. So I'm not even like super heavy on the like he needs to be getting minutes. Like he's a little better than
though.
Maybe, but again, like. Again, if he's not as comfortable as Drew Eubanks, and he's only a little bit better than Drew Eubanks, and the final nail in the coffin is the hope is that he's not even on your team. It's like it's just things are going against him. You know what I mean in that regard.
At the beginning of the season, he's not getting PT, and we're like, well, what the heck? Why is Thad not getting PT at all, right? And then Yacht gets hit with the safety protocols, and we have to make Drew our starting guy, which makes Thad the bench, right? And It took him a minute, but as soon as like we started to see like Thad like right at the end of Jakob's health and safety protocol, we started to see him look comfortable. We started to see him look good in that offense, and it was like that was something I was like, yeah, I'm ready to see that. I'm ready to see Drew just go right back to the third string and see Yak come in and bam, Yak Thad. He started looking good right there, and then we immediately took those minutes away from Thad and started giving him back to Drew. And it was like, well, what the heck? Like he started to look good. He started to look comfortable. He's like, it was flowing in the offense, and we could have used a guy like that to just continue to keep the ball rolling like that. And I think if we would have kept that in consistent minutes like that throughout these last stretch of games, I'm not telling you games are going to be different. I'm not telling you that we're going to win games that we've lost, but I'm telling you that things would have changed. Things would have looked better for Thad. Things would have looked better for us as a team.
So yeah, but like think about all the times that Drew struggled because it felt like people were bullying him, and it was often, And is Thad going to do anything to stop that? And if he doesn't, are you throwing your guy out there and just tanking his fucking so I don't mean to cuss, but tanking his trade value because now you got Anthony Davis just posterizing him for 35 and 34.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think neither of their defenses would have like if Drew's defense isn't working. I don't think Dad's defense is going to be that much better.
Exactly. But one of those guys you're trying to trade.
Dad's offense is that much better than Drew Eubanks' offense.
I'm not running nothing through Thad at the center position. You know what I mean? Which is when he was getting. You don't have to run anything. He was getting his thing.
You don't have to run him. You don't have to run it like how I was saying. Like I don't want to see Thad against Rudy Gobert like how we saw Drew against Rudy Gobert. But seeing Thad run an offense is a lot better than seeing Drew run an offense.
But asking for Thad to have more extended minutes means you're gonna put him in positions like that. You're gonna have to put him in positions.
He just makes like
he makes smarter decisions.
Better passes. Yeah, he does. Like he's a way better passer than Drew. Like he can't fly like Drew. He's not gonna get those big blocks like Drew gets every now and then and the big dunks. But he's gonna do enough to be better than Drew. I think. Like he would. Like he would.
I
passing wise, and you see some of the back cuts and you see some of the passes, and then like obviously as he gets comfortable with all our guys, he's going to learn where they're going to be, and he'll make the passes that Drew has not made.
If we had minutes for him at the 4 spot, I would be way more. Even like last night when I was talking about throwing in Keita Bates. What's his name? Thad can hang with Bojan like off the dribble. Thad can like for spurts. Find minutes there. You know what I mean? But I just don't like. I'm not clamoring to find Thad Young minutes at the center position. I'm personally like I'm not. So that's why I don't feel as bad where his current situation is. You know what I mean? It's just it's unfortunately
let him rot on the bench.
It's not. I wouldn't even say rot because it's just like I said. Like I feel like in hindsight, at the end of the year, he's gonna get multiple months to do what he was wanting to do. You know what I mean? And which is to be a contributor on a team that's going somewhere. You know what I mean? And, and then he'll have his time to either, I don't know what his contract looks like, but I mean, if he's up for another one, well, then go earn it. You got 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's just kind of where I sit on it.
Either way, we got, I think that was a good little end of the discussion for that stuff, because I mean, we didn't really, obviously, we couldn't talk about that for the before games, and it's kind of hard for us to like. If Dad's not getting minutes in the recap, then that means that he's not like. It's hard for us to be like, well, Dad's going to get minutes against Sacramento, right? But I think that was still a good way for us to wrap up this episode, being able to talk about some good Spurs talk and rumors and stuff, right?
Watch it, and who knows, tomorrow Drew Eubanks and Jock are going to enter health and safety protocols, and now Thad's playing the 30 minutes a game.
Don't jinx us, man. Don't jinx us. We need all the depth that we can get.
Yeah, you're right.
I just think the idea is that even like Thad might be better than Drew, but like the idea that Jock and Zach Collins were coming, you kind of know that those guys are part of your team this year. And that is not. He's going to be on a different team. So there's no point in trying to make him mesh and gel with his team when he's going to leave. And for the young guys to try to like learn how to play with him, obviously, he'll be better. He'll move the ball more. He's a better player than Drew. Drew was an undrafted guy who just barely got like a roster spot on this team a couple years ago. Thad's been in the league for I don't know how many years, but like. The idea is you got 2 bigs with Jock and Zach that haven't even really played this year, and those guys are going to be on this team with like ahead of Drew, with Drew, whatever the case. Like, I don't know. It's just not.
So I mean, maybe that is maybe as soon as Zach is, maybe they're just waiting for Zach to get healthy, and then they're like, okay, as soon as Zach gets healthy, and then we have our backup. We have the big filled out.
Exactly. And while he's getting acclimated, that's around the time where Thad is really like close to hopefully on his way out. We're really approaching the trade deadline at that point. you want Drew Eubanks, who's going to be at the bottom of your roster, to feel like he knows what's going on. You know what I mean? And so you just you think long term and you bolster up the 15th man. You know what I mean? For instead of the guy who's not even going to be on the roster. So all right. Well, that I mean, like Jake said, that was a good little back and forth. I actually like when we kind of bring topics to the table like that, because I think it sparks good discussion. So I think we should try to get a little bit more of that going on in the next couple episodes. I think that'll be fun. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. This is our final episode, before Christmas. Next time we see you guys will be Sunday, the 26th, the day after. So, a Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
We definitely exactly. We definitely enjoy using this show as like a way for us to kind of sit down and talk with each other. We don't live together. So hanging around family and all that kind of stuff, it's important to us. So spend time with your family on Christmas. Be safe. Do it the right way, or do it as best you can. And we'll be back next Sunday, hopefully after a 3-0 week. Like we all said, it's prime opportunities. You know what
Christmas,
I mean?
I want 30 plus minutes night for Primo. That's what I want, Pop.
There you go.
Oh my God.
I want 2 wins. I want 3 wins this week, and I don't know. Let me have a good KJ poster. We haven't seen that in a while.
Ooh. Hey, we were all there for that. Not all of us.
No.
We were there for that. Oh wait, were you there, Jake? Yeah, Jake was there too for that Boston game.
Yeah,
I was about to say, what game are you talking? Like, I was like, did I miss a game? Or
it kind of feels like Jake lives in North America, but that Boston game, that KJ dunk. I mean, it was electrifying. We're all there for it. We don't really get too many posters with this team, even though we got a bunch of young guys. But
there you go. No,
Lonnie needs one.
Sneaky athletic dunks from Devin is something for me that I'm like, anytime Devin goes up there and I see him get ready to dunk it, I'm like, bro, imagine if somebody is just up there and tries to contest that. I think Devin will slam over him.
What if we get like a Keldon Johnson completely jumps over Isaiah Thomas or something like that?
Oh my God, that'd be beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, well, we'll keep thinking about our Christmas wishes for the Spurs, but we want 3 wins this week. But like we said, enjoy the time with your family. It's a holiday season.
Yeah. This time next week we'll be talking about how I bodied these guys at basketball. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
We're gonna record this. Jake's been talking too crazy these days, man. It's outrageous.
Yeah.
Grown or something.
So tomorrow, which is or for you guys, it'll be today. If you're watching this video on the Sunday, we'll actually all 4 be together. So yeah, we might get a couple games going. And we'll see what's up. What kind of what kind of work Jake's been putting in.
These old guys are out of their league, man. They can't handle the next generation.
I'm not gonna lie. I felt about speaking of feeling the disrespect. Whenever he said, I could just tell that Josh couldn't go anymore.
Yeah, I know. I was like, how many games were we in at that time? I was like, yeah, I was tired from carrying Jake the first 5 games.
Hey, I've been talking about how our guys are going to be able to run 48 minutes. I'll be able to run 48 minutes. I don't know about the rest of these guys.
We'll see.
Jake,
don't know about the rest of these guys.
Laps, dog. What are you saying?
I'll make it.
And that's why I'm not worried about that, because I'm like, no, just play me 3 minutes a night and I'm good.
Oh man.
Wait. Okay, so this is on record. Jake's talking that mess. I want some clip. We're gonna get some clips in here. And don't shy away when we throw them on the TV.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to bring my I'll bring my gimbal or something so we can get some steady shots.
There you go. Yeah,
in motion,
something like that, right?
Oh my God.
We'll have plenty of camera crew people being able to watch us play.
Filmed by like a 5-year-old or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Here we go. Look at Josh's kid checks.
Speaking of Christmas too, if anybody wants to buy me those gold and red Spider Mitchells that he was wearing yesterday.
Oh my goodness, man, those were pretty. I want them. I want another pair of Dons now.
That's one of my favorite players wearing one of my favorite shoes.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, I got some
PGs.
PGs.
Last minute layup would roll right in.
No. I got me PGs. I got some Dames. I got Dons. We got all the shoes.
Some patties. Some patties.
Guys. I got some patties.
There you go, Jake.
There you go. All right, well, we'll end it with there. We'll end it on a positive note. So, thanks for anybody who checked in with us this Sunday. Merry Christmas to everybody, and we will see you on the 26th. And we'll just keep it moving through New Year's and as far as the Spurs want to take us. So, until then, we're out, man. Peace. Merry Christmas.
Peace.
Por vida.